carried away with me, cause I'm gonna let you know who I be. And I'm always say something from about the South, cause that's my hood. You know what I'm saying? My mama ain't teach me to be no gangster. The streets did this, you know what I'm saying? I wipe my ass with this. My fucking hand getting tired, man. Let's get back to it.
Like, is he really?
Like, he's a real gangster. Wow. And that's the thing that people don't realize about Boosie. Like, she got like 30 to 40 around him all the time.
Lil Boosie might seem like he's got everything under control now, but his journey to this point has been anything but smooth. He's battled a whole host of challenges, from growing up in poverty, managing diabetes, fighting cancer, and even staring down the death penalty. Honestly, it's nothing short of a miracle that he's still standing strong today. His story also includes quite a bit of run-ins with the law, especially as his rap career began to take off. Initially, Boosie managed to keep a clean slate, steering clear of legal troubles as he slowly built a diverse fan base from different corners of the world. This clean streak continued until a pivotal moment on October 22, 2008, when his life took a significant turn. That day, things went south when East Baton Rouge sheriff's deputies stopped Boosie. The stop wasn't routine by any means. They ended up finding marijuana and a Glock in his car. This discovery led to Boosie's arrest, marking the start of a string of legal battles that would test his resolve and resilience. Nearly a year later, on September 22, 2009, Boosie faced the consequences head-on and pled guilty to his third offense of marijuana possession. The very next day, the court handed down a 2-year prison sentence. But just when Boosie might have started to adjust to the reality of his situation, things escalated. On November 9th, Judge Chip Moore reviewed Boosie's case and decided to double his sentence to 4 years after finding that Boosie had violated his probation while he was awaiting sentencing. During the tense period between his guilty plea and the final sentencing, Boosie was placed under stringent house arrest and monitored electronically. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any tougher for Lil Boosie, they took a serious nosedive. On June 17, 2010, he found himself facing some incredibly severe charges. Boosie was indicted for the first-degree murder of Terry Boyd, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. He was also staring down charges for possession with intent to distribute narcotics, including codeine, cocaine, and marijuana, as well as conspiracy charges related to the narcotics and even bringing contraband into a penal institution. Boosie has always maintained his innocence regarding these accusations.
Rapper Lil Boosie hired a hitman to kill another man after hearing his life was in danger. Opening statements began yesterday in the first-degree trial of Lil Boosie, whose real name is Torrance Hatch.
The district attorney Hillary Moore suggested that the motive behind the of Boyd might have been related to a dispute over territorial control. The stakes were astronomically high for Boosie because, with the charges piled against him, he was potentially facing the death penalty. To add even more pressure, prosecutors were looking into Boosie's possible connections to at least 5 other. Diving deep into the narrative, at the center of this complex web was a young man named Marlo Mike, who was just 15 years old at the time of the Boyd. Marlo Mike had a deeply entwined relationship with Boosie. When Mike was 14, he practically moved in with Boosie and, according to Street Talk, became Boosie's right-hand man. There were whispers and rumors suggesting that Mike had turned into something like a personal hitman for Boosie while still just a teenager. Boosie had a strong bond with Marlo Mike, almost like a father-son relationship, and he even became Mike's legal guardian. This close relationship is important because it paints a picture of just how deep their ties went. Now, back in October 2009, a tragic event unfolded in East Baton Rouge. Terry Boyd was simply relaxing on his couch at home when suddenly 6 bullets tore through his windows in the dead of night, ending his life. Witnesses reported seeing 2 individuals sprinting toward the train tracks immediately after the gunfire ceased. Here's where it all ties back to Boosie. He was accused of hiring Marlo Mike to carry out this hit, allegedly paying him $2,800 for Boyd.
Get you up to speak. Little Boosie, whose real name is Torrance Hatch, is accused of hiring Michael Louding to kill Terry Boyd. Investigators say Louding is tied to 6 Louding will likely testify against Boosie during his trial in April.
When things got heated, Boosie's lawyer jumped into the fray, strongly defending his client. He suggested that Marlo Mike did not act alone, but teamed up with Michael Ghost Judson and Adrian Pittman to carry out the hit on Terry Boyd. The twist is, Ghost supposedly had a bone to pick with Terry after a rumored robbery, while Pittman also had his own beef with the guy. Now, adding a layer to this tangled web, there was a bit of a backstory involving a letter from an inmate named Lee Lucas over at Angola Prison. This letter allegedly contained some trash talk about Boosie, stirring up even more tension. In an attempt to smooth things over, Boosie supposedly put up $25,000 to settle the beef once and for all. However, despite the offer, things spiraled out of control. On the night of the shooting, the plot thickened as Pittman drove Marlowe and Ghost to Terry's place. According to the plan, Marlowe took the shot through the window, and then the trio made a quick getaway back to Boosie's house. Once there, Marlowe was allegedly paid for the job.
Louding says that there are 3 people that went to Terry Boyd's house and did the shooting. In the second tape, he then implicates himself, saying that he, in fact, shot Terry Boyd.
Fast forward to the trial, and the plot continued to thicken. Pittman turned state's witness, spilling the details about their involvement in the Terry Boyd shooting. The prosecution was not playing around. They brought in some damning evidence against Marlowe Mike, including jailhouse confession recordings, phone records, a tattoo that they claimed linked him to the crime, and even lyrics from one of Boosie's own tracks titled 187. They even brought a body bag into the courtroom as part of their evidence pile. But the defense was ready to rumble. They shot down the idea of the incriminating letter, arguing that Boosie and Terry were actually on good terms. Meanwhile, Marlowe threw a curveball into the proceedings by claiming that Boosie had ordered a hit on another rapper named Nussy. Marlowe alleged that Ghost had given him the lowdown on Boosie's issues with Nussy, leading both him and Ghost to target Nussy's place. According to Marlowe, Boosie had shelled out $15,000 for this separate hit, with Ghost handing over a portion of that money to Marlowe. Throughout the trial, the prosecutors kept pushing the narrative that Boosie had paid Marlowe to eliminate Boyd. But Boosie remained steadfast in his defense. He insisted that there was nothing but love between him and Boyd, trying to dismantle the prosecution's claims with his testimony. During the trial, things took a complex turn when Marlowe Mike alleged that his confession to the crimes had been forced out of him. He claimed that law enforcement officials had used threats against him and his family to get him to confess, which seriously called into question the reliability of his statement. In a dramatic moment in court, prosecutors pushed Mike to show off a tattoo that read, "Yo Boosie, who's next?" which they displayed via enlarged photographs as part of their evidence pile, trying to tie him more closely to Boosie.
Apparently, Mike has a tattoo that says, "Yo Boosie, who next?"
Yeah.
And they used that in the courtroom?
Yeah.
Despite these bold moves by the prosecution, Police Sergeant Chris Johnson stood firm, denying any coercion took place during their interactions with Mike. In an unexpected twist, Mike, who had previously admitted to all the as part of a deal with the authorities, changed his tune during Boosie's trial. He retracted his previous statements that implicated Boosie, helping to exonerate 2 other individuals and significantly aiding in Boosie's eventual acquittal. In what seemed like a heartfelt moment, Mike even apologized to Boosie and offered testimony that supported his defense. While this courtroom drama was unfolding, Boosie was dealing with other legal troubles as well. On November 29, 2011, amidst the ongoing murder trial, Boosie faced the consequences of separate charges, pleading guilty to drug offenses that led to an 8-year prison sentence. However, the clouds parted for him somewhat on May 11, 2012, when a jury declared him not guilty of first-degree murder, sparing him from a possible death sentence. Meanwhile, Marlowe Mike wasn't as fortunate. He received a life sentence without any chance of probation, parole, or sentence suspension. But the saga did not end there. On December 7, 2012, Boosie's legal team played a crucial card. They argued that the drug ring charge against him was a setup. An informant had supposedly offered Boosie, who openly admitted to struggling with codeine addiction, codeine syrup in exchange for his cooperation. This argument eventually played a role in his release from prison on March 5, 2014. Boosie walked free but remained on parole until 2018. Fast forward to July 12, 2022, another chapter was added to Boosie's turbulent interactions with the law. During a routine traffic stop, Boosie found himself in hot water once again when he was detained by the police. During the search of his vehicle, officers discovered 2 loaded handguns along with some marijuana. This led to Boosie and another individual being arrested on multiple charges related to firearms and ammunition. Despite these serious charges, Boosie maintained his innocence, pleading not guilty. He managed to post bail on the same day he was arrested, and even made it to a scheduled performance at a nightclub later that evening. Boosie's career has not only been marked by legal issues, but also by several controversies, particularly concerning his outspoken views on social issues. He has made headlines for his comments that many consider homophobic and transphobic. A notable incident occurred in February 2020, which drew widespread criticism. Boosie publicly commented on Zaya Wade, the 12-year-old transgender daughter of American basketball star Dwayne Wade. Zaya had recently come out as transgender, receiving considerable public support from her parents. Boosie's comments were seen as particularly insensitive when he said, "Don't cut his D off, bruh," during a video he posted online. In the same video, he also criticized modern parenting, suggesting that laws against physical punishment were empowering children too much and undermining parental authority. Shortly after his comments about Zaya Wade, Boosie faced repercussions beyond social media backlash. He had an incident at a Planet Fitness in Georgia. Boosie claimed that he was asked to leave the gym because the manager was biased against him due to his comments about Wade. However, a spokesperson for Planet Fitness refuted this, stating that the reason for his expulsion was not personal animosity, but rather Boosie's failure to adhere to the gym's policies, including alleged harassment of staff members. In May 2020, Boosie was criticized for a now-deleted video he uploaded to Instagram in which he spoke positively of paying an adult female to perform oral S on his son and nephew, then 12 and 13 years old, below the age of consent in any US state, and allowing his minor son to watch pornography, as he felt pornography was more appropriate for children to watch than, quote, cartoons with two men kissing. Also in 2017, in a birthday post aimed at his soon-to-be 14-year-old son, Boosie bragged that he had secured his son a, quote, bad B to perform on him for his birthday, in a post liked by 27,000 users, though he later claimed he had been joking. Then after rumors spread that Lil Nas X was collaborating with Boosie, Boosie went on a homophobic rant against Lil Nas X, who is openly gay, in 2021, in which he urged Lil Nas X to off himself. Boosie has also had his fair share of health challenges alongside his music career. Back in 2006, he publicly shared that he had been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes since childhood, a condition that has required ongoing management. In a more urgent appeal for assistance, Boosie took to Instagram in April 2020, asking his followers in the Jacksonville area to help him find insulin glargine, known commercially as Lantus, highlighting the everyday struggles he faces with his health. The health scares didn't end there for Boosie. On November 25, 2015, when he was just 33 years old, he disclosed to his fans that he had been diagnosed with kidney cancer. Fortunately, he underwent successful surgery to remove the cancer, marking another significant battle he managed to overcome. Despite these health hurdles, Boosie has not only persevered, but also carved out a successful path in the music industry. Boosie's musical journey began in the late 1990s when his cousin Young D introduced him to Baton Rouge rapper C-Lock. Under the guidance of mentors like Young Bleed, C-Lock, and MD, Boosie joined Concentration Camp, a well-known rap group from Baton Rouge founded by C-Lock in the mid-90s. As the youngest member joining in '98, Boosie quickly found his place within the group that included prominent local artists like Young Bleed, C-Lock, Happy Perez, Boo, Max Minnelli, Javon, Lee Time, and Lucky Knuckles. Boosie made his musical debut on C-Lock's fifth album, It's a Gamble, in 2000, and also appeared on Concentration Camp's third studio album, Camp 3 Thug Brothers, the same year. His entry into the music scene was timed perfectly with the departure of Young Bleed from the group, which positioned Boosie as one of the leading faces of the camp. By the age of 17, he recorded his debut album, aptly titled Youngest of the Camp, released under Camp Life Entertainment in 2000. The production of this album was largely handled by Happy Perez and featured collaborations with C-Lock, Max Minnelli, and Donkey. In 2001, Boosie's career took another significant step forward when he joined Trill Entertainment, backed by its CEO, the late Pimp C of UGK. Under this new banner, he released his album For My Thugs in 2002 under his fresh alias, Lil Boosie. His momentum continued to build, and in 2004 he collaborated with South Coast Coalition to release both sides of the track. Around the same time, he dropped a compilation mixtape titled Badass, which included some new tracks like Trillish, as well as the track I Smoke, I Drank by Bodyhead Bangers, featuring Boosie and Young Bleed off their debut album Bodyhead Bangers Volume 1. In 2005, Boosie was particularly active, teaming up with Lava House Records to release United We Stand, Divided We Fall. He also released Street Code with Pat Lorenzo and the Badass Advance mixtape to promote his upcoming album. In early 2006, following a signing with Warner Brothers Records, in late January 2005, Trill released Badass Mixtape Volume 1 as a follow-up to Badass Advance. Later that year, Boosie's major label debut album, Badass, was released. And in 2007, he issued Badass Mixtapes Volume 2, and featured on the remix of Wipe Me Down by rapper Fox. In a notable shift in his career in October 2014, Boosie changed his stage name to Boosie Badass. He explained in a May 2015 interview with Noisy that the name change was a move toward maturity, expressing his desire to be recognized as an adult and a father rather than just Lil Boosie. He mentioned that people often referred to him as Badass more frequently, so he decided to make it official and stick with Boosie Badass. Recognized as a significant figure in Southern hip-hop, Boosie has had had a prolific music career with an impressive discography that includes 13 solo studio albums, 7 collaborative albums, and 44 mixtapes. His influence in the genre is undeniable, and his output has contributed significantly to the landscape of hip-hop music. Apart from his musical achievements, Boosie's personal life has been equally eventful. He is the father to 8 children with 6 different women. When it comes to his views on marriage, Boosie is quite outspoken. He has expressed his reluctance to marry primarily due to financial reasons. He fears losing half of his wealth in a divorce if he were unfaithful. Additionally, Boosie has openly praised women who remain in relationships with unfaithful partners, expressing respect for their decision to stay despite the challenges. Boosie's life has indeed been full of dramatic twists and turns. That's it for today. Until next time, bye.